Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's time for Steelers talk with your boy, the Viking Donkey. And if you just heard something that sounded like a bomb going off in my house, I'm sorry. The wind is blowing my garage door like crazy. It's cold in here, so I'll try to keep it going. I'll try to keep it fast. We're joined by Laskers. We're joined by Ginzy. We're joined after a Steelers win against the Panthers. Boys, how you feeling?
Mutant Gingy in the house. W, baby. Let's go. Looking like December football. Hard fought. Three rushing touchdowns. Trubisky, no ints. I'm liking it. Let's go. Laskers, you with us?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah, I'm liking it. Not super happy that all of our all of our touchdowns came on the ground. Maybe we could get one through the air. But also at the same time, we all have to reminisce about the loss of Franco Harris this past week.
So true. So true. What an odd timing for that, too, as we're here talking about the Immaculate Reception. But, the dude's immortalized. You ever come to Pittsburgh Airport, you see the great legend, the man who made the catch, the one and only 32, I guess is what we can say, right? Franco Harris.
Retiring that number this weekend. Well deserved.
And, good to see that the Steelers got the win. Tough to see the loss of such a legend, such an icon. And Laskers beat me to the punch about it, so now I don't know how I'm going to go about it. But Gingy, any breakdown from the game last week before we get into talking some other fun Steelers stuff, I guess?
I already mentioned it. Did a good job being consistent. 3 touchdowns on the ground. Got to see one from Najee, one from Warren, one sneaking in from Trubisky. The averages are still low. Trubisky didn't really have anything major through the air. 17 for 179. Nothing in either significant category. Man, Donkey, I'm going to tell you what. Unforced errors, penalties. Penalties are coming to light. And the team is not really... the standard is the standard. Well, we gotta set a different standard, is what I'm thinking. I'm seeing some clown stuff, Donkey. Clown stuff.
Some clown stuff from, maybe Deontay Johnson gets a pass because, he's a player who makes plays. But how does a guy like Marcus Allen, who's a fringe guy who hasn't done anything on special teams, is a non-contributor on defense, how does that dude get to keep a job after, arguably, if it wasn't for the Patriots game, the dumbest play of the year might have gone to Marcus Allen for getting a penalty when no one's even on the damn field. But the Patriots game, I don't know if you got to see that, had the literal dumbest thing I've ever seen with a Bill Belichick coach team. So that was fun. But yeah, these big penalties are there, and I want to get into that. But first, I want to go to Laskers to talk about, Carolina's a bad team. We can all agree on that. Sure, they're in the playoff hunt because the NFC South is terrible. But they traded away their top 3 playmakers. You expect this defense to put up an elite performance, but they don't. You expect this offense to be able to go out there and shine. Let's be honest here. If it wasn't for being good on conversion downs, they were 12 of 16, I believe. You're talking about an offense that might have had a terrible showing because we were averaging under, 3.5 yards a carry as a team. I don't think a running back was even close to the 4 yards a carry threshold. This is an offense that, against these bad teams, and if you listen to the Bug Cap where I broke everything down, I'm waiting for an elite performance on offense or defense so we can say this team is good at something, Laskers.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, we were 12 of 16. And, I'm not seeing that we're good on anything. We're okay in certain areas, but we're not really good anywhere.
That's what I'm feeling. And Gingy, I'll go to you on this. I feel this team is average to above average in every category, but there's nowhere we excel at right now, which is a huge problem. And that's the reason why we're able to beat bad teams, is just because we let the bad teams expose their weaknesses because we don't have a strength to exploit, so we just wait for them to go to their weakness. Is that fair to say what you've seen from this team? Sitting here at 6-8 right now?
Yeah, 6-8, I believe. And the word that you really coined in on there, Donkey, that hit me was elite. Yeah, you're right. No eliteness anywhere. Even the TJ. TJ is the only thing that was elite on this team, and honestly, outside of week 1, hasn't looked super elite. I know he's battling the injuries all season long, but and I know he's an elite guy, no question there. Don't make me think that I'm questioning TJ here, but outside of him, there is no real eliteness. Even the number 1 guys in all the other positions, no, not at wide receiver, not anywhere on offense. And the team needs to find an identity. If it doesn't matter if you're an elite at something, all right. There's all those Patriots teams that won dynasties throughout the 2000s. They're never super elite teams, right? But they had some sort of cohesion. Some sort of cohesion, yeah, they had a lot of other things. Teddy Bruschi, some of those early teams too, just full units. You know what I'm saying, Donkey?
I hear you. What I'm really getting at here is I'm not even talking an elite group, Gingy. I'm not talking that. I'm talking these guys together, bond together, have that day where they have an elite performance. Offensively, an elite performance is what? Those 40-point games. That's an elite game. Not a great game, the 30-point games, the great games. I'm talking those elite games, those 40-point games. Or how about defensively, an elite game? A game where you hold an opponent to single digits. You see teams do it all the time. Hell, there's other mediocre teams out there who do it. The opponent this week, the Vegas Raiders, they have shown elite ability on offense. They've shown elite ability on defense. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the same thing. Hell, the New York Jets have shown that. The question is, in order to be a competitive team, at least not in terms of winning, losing, making playoffs, not making playoffs, in terms of being competitive going forward to championships, you have to be able to put forth elite performances. And it just doesn't feel this year, last year. It's been a long time since I felt an elite performance has happened overall through a game. It's always just we beat the bad teams 24-16 and we lose or beat the good team by 3 points. Like, when does this team start showing something elite?
I don't have a clear answer for you, Donkey. It's going to have to really come. Again, this comes back to the question of what's this team's identity. You build off your strengths, right? So what's it going to be?
Like we said last week, we're good at throwing 3-yard passes unless we need 3 yards. Okay, that's the identity. I stole it, I know. But that's what I'm sticking with until they prove me otherwise. But Gingy, I really want you to go into this point. Actually, I'll let Laskers lead it off going into you. This undisciplined style of football, procedural penalties, these stupid taunting penalties, hell, taunting opponents between quarter breaks when the game's still on the line, and you give them a new set of downs on 4th and 24 because you want to run your mouth. This undisciplined style of football that's been plaguing the Steelers for 2 going on 3 years now. Who needs to be held responsible for this, Laskers?
I think it's the coaching staff, 100%. I mean, if you can't discipline your players, what do you expect? Why would they change? They're not going to change. They're getting away with whatever they want, and there's no repercussions.
And now, Gingy, before we get to you to break it in, Deontay Johnson, the enigma of your being, I know, I get it. The dude actually went out and got a lot of big first downs, making people miss, getting the sticks. Something he hasn't done all year, really showed up. 10 catches on 10 targets for 98 yards, but a lot of big third down conversions. Dude had himself a good game, but then he makes a boneheaded taunting penalty. Now he says, I didn't see the defender there. You buying any of that, or are you seeing just an undisciplined thing starting to creep in more and more to the Steelers locker room, Steelers team?
You know me, Donkey. I'm generally a pretty forgiving guy, right? We're pretty open to things here, but this is time after time after time. I've already gone on a rant on this show, Donkey, about what I call unforced errors from Deontay Johnson. Now, and you spoke earlier about a fringe guy, Marcus Allen, still being on the squad, still being able to, play after what he did. I understand your point, but I kind of see it a little differently. I don't give Deontay the pass on that anymore. He got paid. He's the number 1 guy. He has to be the leader. I give him less of a pass on acting out on his emotions than I would a fringe guy like Marcus Allen, right?
I hear you on that, but I want to push a little on him as a leader because he is the leading receiver on this team. Don't get it wrong, no touchdowns, I get that. But he has also taken on, whether you like it or not, a mentorship role with guys like George Pickens. You've seen him go and talk specifically to Pickens after big drops, after big mistakes. I actually think Deontay Johnson is stepping decently into the leadership role. I just wish his on-field performance was a little bigger. But I hear you're not giving him a pass and all.
He's being forced into the leadership role because of the nature of where he lies on the team right now. He's the veteran guy on the staff, right? So
yeah, 26 or whatever he is. Yeah.
So and he's the guy who just got the bag. He just got paid. So I think he kind of fits that role. Which again, that's why even more he cannot act like that, especially if he's going to be in a mentorship role to Pickens.
No, I hear you on that. Speaking of George Pickens, before I forget to mention, I believe I just read an article where he's going to be out this weekend because he caught some kind of illness. So he's not going to play in the Vegas Raiders game. Really unfortunate thing there for the Steelers. But I want to get your guys' take on this. Steelers' performance this week, good enough to win, no doubt about it. Would you say the running game had a good performance or an average performance? I mean, the 3 touchdowns are nice to see, and that's huge. Red zone performance is always huge in terms of running the ball. That's why I was like, I don't know how I judge this game because the yards per carry weren't there. The ability to make people miss really wasn't showing that often. But at the end of the day, they did score 3 touchdowns on the ground. The Steelers' performance as an all, I mean, Carolina's not a very good team, but we did do what we needed to do, an 8-point win. I missed the prediction by 1 point, Gingy. I said 17 points. Panthers only scored 16. Very upset about that. Both, by the way, kudos. Both of us predicted 24. Got to give a shout out there. How'd you rate this overall performance before we move on to the Raiders game? You guys give them a good game, a great game, an game, a yeah, we did it game?
For me, this is a game. All right, average. You did enough to. I'm okay with it because this game was based on consistency. When you look at the box score, Donkey, nothing jumps out at you from either team. They both are kind
no
of
turnovers for the Steelers.
No turnovers for the Steelers.
Gingy, key 2. 6-0 when we win the first quarter. Let's go.
I like that one. Here's my key, and here's mine for the game, right, Donkey? And I don't know if this might lead into a type of differential or whatever.
The Gingy differential, you're hearing it here now. Gingy, hit it.
12 for 16 third down efficiency. 75% on third down versus 4 for 11 for the Panthers. That is what wins you a sloppy 24-16 football game with very little movement over the air. All right? But
Gingy, I believe the Steelers are one of 2 teams since the bye week to be converting 50% of their third downs on offense. Trend we're starting to see, and a very good trend to see.
That's huge. That's huge. The only other stat that jumps off on me is Carolina, typically a strong rushing team, held to 21 yards on the ground. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Would have loved to see a turnover, but no running game, 4 sacks. You're going to take the happy where you take it. Laskers, how's the game rate for you?
It rated okay for me. The biggest disappointment, in my opinion, is giving up 9 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, we're in the lead, but you start giving up triple the number of points that you put up in the fourth quarter. That's where we're going to get into trouble down the road.
Just had to keep it interesting, don't you know? So I guess that means we have time to break into the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the current Las Vegas Raiders. Stats also come when they were the Los Angeles Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. So let's all just put that all into one. And for a rarity this year, guys, a team the Steelers have a losing record against over the course of the 2 franchises. Steelers are 13-17 versus the Vegas Raiders. Now that is an 8-6 mark at home in Pittsburgh, 5-11 on the road. The largest win belongs to the Steelers. That was 32 points in 2010 in a game that was 3-35. The LA Raiders beat the Steelers back in 1984 for the Raiders' biggest win by 28 points at a score of 10-38. The longest streak is their Vegas Raiders have 6 in a row from 76 to 84, and the Steelers have 3 in a row from 72 to 73, and then again from 94 to 00. And, the 72 to 73 one, that's a kind of fun one we should talk about because it's the 50th year anniversary of said game that might have occurred during that time frame. The Immaculate Reception, the playoff thing, the one that sets Franco Harris into legacy mode. Even if he didn't have a great career with the Steelers, he's a legend for that play and that play alone. So let's take a quick kudos. How big is the Immaculate Reception in terms of Steelers history to you two?
Huge, Donkey. That was one of the franchise. I think that was first postseason win in franchise history. Was it not?
That's a good kudos if you got that right. I'll go with it. I have no idea. Last year's.
I'm going to look. I mean, I do believe that is the the biggest play in Steelers history, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think there's a bigger play that I can name.
The only one you can even maybe argue, and this is me knowing this one, the Ben DeSantonio pass catch is one of the most amazing things you'll ever see, along with the James Harrison interception in that game. And maybe that's why it doesn't get the same kudos, is because that had two legendary moments in it. And watching who was it? Larry Fitzgerald run down James Harrison twice on the same play was quite hysterical on that one. But let me finish off the Raiders stats.
Hang on, let me go. That is the first Steelers win.
Postseason win. Yep.
Shout out for that one. Bringing the knowledge here. That's what we like to do, Laskers. Thanks for the look up there.
But before that, we lost to the Eagles in 1947.
Thanks. Man, that's a long gap between. We're not even going to talk about that. That's like Pittsburgh Pirates current day stuff. We're going to ignore that. We're going to go back to the history of these two teams. The current streak is the Raiders are on a 2-game win streak, with the last meeting comes September 19th of 2021. Vegas beating Pittsburgh 26-17. Like I said, Pickens is out for this game. And unfortunately on the Raiders side, a guy who's out that I really wanted to play was Rock Ya-Sin. Because if anybody remembers the last time we played Indianapolis like 2 years ago, Rock Ya-Sin was the guy we torched for like 3 touchdowns. But neither here nor there. Let's get breaking down the Raiders by the stats. 10th overall in offense and points with 24 a game, 11th in yards at 370, 13th in both passing and running, time of possession, 30 and a half minutes a game is where they rank. Defensively, though, they're 23rd. They give up 24 points a game. They're 25th in total yards, 26th in passing yards, 16th in rushing yards, 29th in sacks, so they don't get to the quarterback much, and 30th in the INTs with only 4 this year, so they don't really pick the ball off either. So a lot of spots to maybe exploit on this Raiders team when you look at the numbers, but they're the type of team that can be really, really explosive. They're the rare team, Gingy, that still runs a one-back system out there, with Jacobs having 1,400, almost 1,500 yards right now. I think he's just short of 1,500. A big running back there, can do a lot of damage. We've seen guys like that run over the Steelers before, but really no one to back them up, as no one else on that team has 100 yards rushing yet. They have Derek Carr, obviously the enigma, big arm. I believe Darren Waller's healthy again, so that's a weapon to add alongside Devontae Adams, who's a monster out there. But their offensive line's a little bit of suspect. You could get to their quarterback, although I think they're giving up less than 2 sacks a game, and they're running the ball well. Gingy, Raiders offense scare you at all?
Yeah, anytime you got Devontae Adams out there, I'm going to be afraid. I mean, covering him is going to be a chore all day long. He's still, number 4 in the league, I believe, in reception yards right now.
He has like 1,300 almost, so yeah, I believe it.
Can't let him have a huge day versus us, Donk. You can't let him beat us. Gotta make the Raiders beat us a different way.
I hear you on that. Got to keep the linebackers clean, because I don't know if you saw it last week, but with Miles Jack not playing, all the Steelers linebackers rated pretty well in the run game, which lets you know you're letting Spillane, you're letting Bush, you're letting Mark Robinson saw the field. Let's go. You're seeing them all hit the lanes they needed to and make the plays they needed to. Like I said, you can't really judge a linebacker when the defensive line plays poorly. The line can keep freeing up the linebackers. Maybe we can stop Jacobs and force them to throw the ball. And Derek Carr, Laskers, is known to be a little turnover prone from time to time, is he not?
He definitely is. And that's where we have to exploit and hopefully get well, let's just use Minka as an example. Let's get Minka a couple interceptions in the game.
That would be nice. Get him up to, I think I'd put him at 6 or something. Defensively, I'm going to start with Laskers here. The Raiders' defense has been an Achilles heel for this team. They have a lot of struggles, but two pretty good pass rushers. I know that, oh my gosh, I can't think of Chandler Jones isn't having the best year, although he did just score a game-winning touchdown last week. But Chandler Jones is a guy that could give Dan Moore all sorts of problems. You're talking Max Crosby going against Chucks. That's a guy with 11 and a half sacks this year. Crosby's not a guy to be overlooked. The Raiders were really weak in the secondary, so I'm not even going to highlight anyone there. But the thing I'm going to say is if the Steelers want to be successful for me, it's getting to the second level. So you have to stop Jones, you have to stop Billings in the middle, and you have to stop Crosby. But then someone needs to get to the second level because if you're going to let Perryman go one-on-one with the running back, Perryman is a guy who's been doing it for like 10 years. He's not going to miss the running backs. The Steelers running backs aren't that elusive. We need to be getting someone up there to get to the second level to block on Perryman. I'm looking for Zach Gentry to be a huge impact in this game polling. He needs to make sure Perryman doesn't be playing downfield, but instead is getting pushed back. That's what I'm seeing on defense, Laskers. Anything you're looking for out there with the Raiders?
I agree. We definitely need to get to the second level with our running backs. So it's going to come down to, can we get some offensive line push to get them there so that they actually stand a chance to get, maybe more than a yard a carry.
That would be nice to have a really good running game to set it up. And maybe the passing game, now that Kenny Pickett's back under center rather than Mitch Trubisky, maybe we're going to try, and we had Firemuth a full, healthy week of practice. Maybe we're going to try to exploit the middle of the field this week in the passing game, Gingy. What you seeing there?
Let's hope so. I mean, that has worked for Kenny in the past, and I think that I really like to see continued two-headed running attack. I like the change of pace between Najee and Warren back there, and I think it keeps them both fresh longer throughout the game.
I hear you on that. Honestly, I liked when we were using 3 running backs. I like the idea of giving Benny Snell some early game carries, not late game carries, some early game carries where you know it's a running situation. Put Benny Snell in there. He's the biggest of them. Let him get a little bit of wear down early in the game so these smaller backs can be a little more explosive late in the game, Gingy.
I like it. Tell me more about it, Donkey. I like it. Let's find an identity for this offense. Find an identity for this offense. I think that you're building on something there.
Yeah, I mean, look at the way since the bye week, the Steelers have been converting third downs because they're passing in good situations, because they're staying above the yards to gain, because the running game has been effective, the passing game is complementing the running game, and more importantly, they have been playing clean football. So let's not forget here, last time Kenny Pickett came back from a concussion, 3 interceptions. He needs to come back this time and play clean football because the Steelers' success is playing clean football. If they turn the ball over, it's going to be a hard time to get a win. Luckily for us this week, the Raiders aren't very good at turning the ball over, so maybe it just happens to be a special kind of moment, set up on a special kind of day, a 50th anniversary kind of day, Laskers.
Maybe there'll be a second immaculate reception tomorrow. Today, however you want to look at it, depending on when David posts it.
I'm going to try to get it out tonight. This is Friday night, but hopefully I get it out in time. We'll see. I don't know. Any closing thoughts you guys have about this game? Because that's my whole breakdown. That's what I see. I showed you the players I thought would be good on the Raiders, where I think they're exploitable. What are you guys feeling on final thoughts of the Raiders-Steelers game, matchups you're looking for, exploitations, or perhaps weaknesses from the Steelers?
We're going to need to see Derek Carr under some pressure. I would like to see some pressure on the quarterback, some splash plays in prime time on Christmas Eve. I'd like to see some big turnovers. And frankly, I'd like to see the Steelers coast to a victory. But we all know with the way they play, that's tough to come by. Yeah, it's tough to come by. But that would be what I want for Christmas.
I definitely agree with Gingy. We got to get Derek Carr under pressure, and I think if we do that, it's going to lead to mistakes by Derek Carr. That seems to be his weakness is when he's under pressure.
That's true. I like both of those. So that's going to lead us to predictions. But I have a little bit of fun. I was able to do a little bit of back search. I only got to week 10. I'm sorry. Christmas time's been kind of crazy, last week of school for the kids. I've only got to week 10 from our picks. From week 10 to current. Now, Laskers has a couple less picks than me and Gingy because he didn't pick on week 10. But Laskers is 8-8 overall. That's 6-5 in non-Steelers games and 2-3 in Pittsburgh Steelers games. He is, however, Gingy, the only person to pick against the Pittsburgh Steelers, albeit he picked Carolina, unfortunately for him. But the only one since week 10 to pick against the Steelers, because apparently I like to call you a homer, but apparently I'm just as bad. But you're like a Yinzer homer, so you're like the double whammy, right, Gingy?
How dare you?
All right, let's get into Gingy stats then. 11-7 overall, not bad. 7-5 in non-Steelers games. 4-2 in Steelers games. Let's let you know the Steelers are 4-2 since week 10, which I believe their bye was week 9. So playing good football since then. And that gets to Donkey. Hey, if we only go from week 10, I'm the leader in the clubhouse. 15-3. That's 11-1 in non-Steelers games and 4-2 in Steelers games. My damn homerism has ruined my picking percentage here, Gingy. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Really pushing it, aren't you? Really pushing it.
I'll try to get the whole year by next week. Now, there's a couple episodes that I won't be able to do because, I was having some major audio problems and there's some cutouts in there and I can't find my papers from them, so I don't know about that. But picks this week, I believe we'll start with, since all the games are tomorrow, how about New Orleans at Cleveland? How about Laskers? Where are you going?
I'm going to go with a tie.
Dude, if I'm seriously going to Venmo you like $500 if they tie.
I can't pick a team in that game. Holy shit!
I don't even know what to say, but if there's a tie, I'll seriously pop up some Venmo and there'll be some cash for Lasker's Christmas present. Gingy, who do you like in this game?
Give me Cleveland.
You know what? It pains me to say this, but I'm going New Orleans. Why not? What the hell? Got to pick someone other than the easy one there. Plus, that gives us all three possible outcomes covered. Good job, guys. I love that. Atlanta versus Baltimore. Let's go to Gingy first on this one.
Holy smokes. Baltimore is so freaking shaky right now. You want to say they're going to right the ship.
Just in case you're curious. He's not playing.
You want to say they're going to right the ship. Atlanta's so bad. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore.
I'm now going to get my first DCMA copyright thing.
It's painful.
Last game, who'd you got?
I'm going to go with Baltimore as well.
I'm going with Baltimore as well, just because Atlanta went to Desmond Ridder, and if you got to see any of that game, my God, does he not look ready to play? He looks kind of like Malik Wills did when Tennessee forced Malik Wills in really early, just woof. Not ready for primetime football, so he's probably going to show up there. Last game before we get to Steelers, we got the Bungles going to the Patriots. New England off a huge collapse. Bungles off another big win. What you seeing, Laskas?
I'm seeing the Bongles taking that one pretty easily.
Ginger!
Bongles are streaking. Scary looking. I don't think the Patriots got it.
Yeah, seeing a Bill Belichick team coached poorly is kind of weird. Matt Patricia, clearly there's a reason he was a defensive coach and not an offensive coordinator. I got to go with the Bungles. And that leads us to 15th anniversary, immaculate reception, the recent passing of Franco Harris. We got the Raiders coming into Pittsburgh. We're going to paint the old end zones down there. Is there any way the Steelers don't win this game, Laskers?
No, there's definitely no way the Steelers don't win this game.
Okay, you gave me a team. I want a score. I want an X factor.
13-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going to go with Najee as the X factor.
Fair enough. Gingy.
They're going to be rocking down there in Pittsburgh. All right, Christmas Eve, prime time. Give me the Steelers, 28-20. X factor going to be Jaylen Warren.
Ooh, we got the running backs covered there. I like that. I like that a lot. I, too, am going to go with your Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the score to be 30-28, and I like your X factor to be Deontay Johnson. I think there's been a lot of talk about him. I think there's been a lot of questions about him. I think last week was a huge stepping stone, and I feel this week is going to be the first week you see Deontay and Kenny Pickett get on the same damn page, and Deontay finally find that end zone. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, baby. Deontay's going to account for all of your Pittsburgh Steelers touchdowns the way I see it. And hey, that's a good way to go into shout-outs for this week. Laskers, lead it off.
Shout out for the Immaculate Reception 50 years ago, and then shout out to Franco Harris's family for the sad passing of Franco.
G&G.
Absolutely. I got to echo that with Laskers. Can't go anywhere else. Steelers legend. Rest in peace, Franco Harris. They're going to hang up the 32 down there. Really well deserved. One of 3 numbers, I believe, that hang now in Steelers land. But really sad. Really sad. I hope they put together a good memorial to memorialize one of the most iconic Pittsburgh Steelers plays in all of history.
Here, Gingy. That is Donkey. My shout out, of course, Franco Harris. Passing's unfortunate. Super legend. All the cool notes that everyone was leaving at the airport was really cool to see. But I also got to give a shout out to the Steelers Pro Bowlers. That's TJ Watt somehow and Minkah Fitzpatrick. And a special side note shout out for the one dude I thought deserved to make the Pro Bowl, Alex Highsmith. Of all the people, I thought you deserved it. So I'm going to give a 4-parter, I guess, this week. And any closing thoughts to you guys before we sign off?
I don't think so.
We got December football gonna be hype, Donkey. Freaking A, man! If anybody gonna be down there at the game, bundle up. It's gonna be a cold one.
For real, bundle up. And with that, I'll let you know from my freezing garage, which is 46 degrees, to you being at like -degrees wind chill tomorrow. Have a good one. That's the Viking Donkey, Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel. Leave us a like, comment, follow, hit the subscribe button, the little bell thingy so you can hear the bug cap. This week was with JD. You can hear the power rankings, where we're actually becoming consistent for some reason I don't understand. And, of course, Steelers Talk, where we bring you all this fun content and a little back and forth. I guess it's time, Laskers, for you to let them know where to find you.
Laskers everywhere, and over to you, Gingy.
Mutant Gingy in the house. We playing games. We talking Steelers. Holy smokes, folks. We got a dub last week. Let's put another dub. That's all Gingy wants for Christmas. Let Santa reach into his big sack and leave Gingy a dub. Come on, Steelers. Wave 'em if you got 'em. Here we go.